one zip code in Round Rock that had power and water, and we also had just filled up on firewood. But I got my second shot from Moderna, and I had 2.5 days of side effects. And then right after I was finished with my side effects, the cedar fever hit, right? End of January, beginning of February. Cedar fever hits, everybody's miserable. And then Dale's loses his sense of taste and smell on the 8th of February, 7th of February. And I said, you're getting a test. And he was positive. And then I got a test and I was negative. But because of the freeze, my surgery center was shut down. So I was home with him the entire time. And so it was Serenity and Breathe in the humidifying diffuser. It was, God, I can hardly remember. Deep Blue on his back because he was having chest pains and backache. So Deep Blue here on his sternum, Deep Blue on his back, on all of his sore muscles. His fever spiked really high. I was able to take care of him. We had On Guard soft gels 3 times a day. We had we did the orthostatic positioning, which is not letting him sleep on his back where all the fluid collects down here, but sleeping this way and rolling over. Several small meals a day to keep his blood sugar regulated, and so that he wouldn't like power up with a lot of energy and then crash. B12 vitamin supplements, which, you know, we don't have, but I made him take his doTERRA LLV, and just watched his fluid intake, make sure he had plenty of fluids, made sure he got up, gave him rose oil on his feet and oregano on his feet and On Guard on his feet.
Can you tell me the first thing you said? I didn't get it down. I think it's what you put in the diffuser.
We put Serenity and Breathe into diffuser humidifier. And the reason for that was because sleep is when the healing happens. So he needed to get to sleep. And I put Breathe in it so it would open up his bronchial so he'll be oxygenated. Every time I went up to check on him, I would, you know, you do the little finger pinch. And so I'm going to do it here in front. When you first pinch your finger, it turns white and then it turns pink real quick. That is called perfusion, and that is oxygenated blood getting to the farthest reaches of your body, which is your fingertips and your toe tips. So I checked his perfusion 5 or 6 times a day. When you have COVID and you're not breathing deeply and you have a fluid buildup in your lungs, also this happens with pneumonia, but it affects your oxygenation of your tissues, which is this perfusion test, like that. See how it turns white and then goes pink real fast? That perfusion test tells you that you're getting red blood cells with oxygen on them to the outside of your body, to the distal ends, right? The periphery ends of your blood system. So
you did all these things. Did he feel, I mean, obviously he wasn't well, but how did he get through it? Do you feel like
he had symptoms for about 2 weeks, including those first few days that we thought he had allergies, and he's better now. I mean, within 2 weeks he was up on his feet. He didn't get to the point where he couldn't breathe. Now, the entire time he had these symptoms, he felt a burning sensation right here in his lungs every time he breathed, which is very discouraging for getting those deep breaths that require you to like fill up your entire lung system all the way down the bottom of your ribs. So he did not want to breathe, but I gave him the Breathe on his chest and on his back, especially in the lower parts of his lungs, to help encourage opening those bronchial tubules and everything, just to keep him from getting, you know, too constricted in his breathing. And that helped a lot.
You're the best nurse ever, best caregiver. That is awesome.
So, and
did his taste and smell come back?
Yes, yes, he recovered his sense of taste and smell when the rest of his symptoms went away. When the burning sensation in his lungs subsided, that's when he knew he was getting better.
Okay.
And yeah, that was scary, but I was home taking care of him the entire time that everyone else was shut down.
Perfect timing.
It was. I hate to say the word blessed, because then that sort of implies that you were chosen by God to do better than other people. No, things worked out for our advantage, and that's the way I like to see it. Because I don't want to think that people who things don't work out for are not blessed, because we're all
blessed,
kind of in this together.
But we get to work things out, and we're thankful to have tools that can help us along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So the LLV was part of his nutritional backbone.
Okay.
And then the On Guard and the oregano, Breathe and Serenity.
Okay. I've written this down, and I'm probably going to share it in my next newsletter. So those of you who would like all that, because that was excellent information. Because chances are we're all going to deal with it sometime. So we just need to.
We probably will. He's 1 shot into his vaccination right now. I am 2 shots in, and
Good.
I'm waiting on the approval for the kids to get Max's 2 shots. And as soon as my son arrives from Switzerland, I'm getting his shots.
And
too.
you get him for the summer, right?
I got him for May and June. So he's coming in just 3 weeks.
Sounds good.
And yeah, he's coming in for the wedding.
We're so excited for you. Woo! We're so excited for you. That's awesome. Okay, anybody else have an oil story they want to share? I'm going to turn time over to Diane, because she's got a great one. Diane, would you share it with us?
Well, I've been in oil camp this week, and one of the videos said that Breathe would help with snoring. And that got me thinking, because for about a year now or more, my husband snores so loud that I have not been able to sleep in the same room with him and get a good night's sleep. So I immediately that night put some Breathe on his chest, and he did not snore at all that night. The second night, he made it till about 3 o'clock in the morning and woke me up. But the last 3 nights, when he wakes up, he'll put a second application of it, a couple drops on his chest in the middle of the night. And he's not snoring. It is just amazing.
I almost I'm not teary, but I'm just choked up to the point that you guys can even sleep together, because you're able to have this oil to help, which is just amazing. Diane, I'm so proud of you and sharing the oils with people and just starting out. It is so great. I
was just talking to a friend today I was telling her this story, and she said her almost 50-year-old son has what she called a blood curdling cough in the middle of the night. Every night he goes to sleep, he coughs really bad. I said, well, maybe this Breathe will help him. So I took a sample and my diffuser over to her so he can rub some on his chest and diffuse it as well. And I'm hoping to hear good stories.
Yeah, I might suggest you add a Breathe drop. I know when I'm having dry throat and coughs, if I'm stuck on a Breathe drop as I go to sleep, I know that's not probably good for your teeth, but if I suck on it as I go to sleep, I tell you, it just calms my throat right down.
Well, good to know.
Yeah, try that one too.
Awesome. I have a story.
Yeah, go, Leanne.
So my friend came over to drop off some food for us on Sunday, I think, and she had just broken up with her boyfriend, and she was just a nervous wreck, just falling apart. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like take this adaptive, the roll-on. And she was really grateful. I wasn't really sure, she's just being nice or not. But then the next day she texted me like, I just can't believe how far down my anxiety is. And this is amazing. Thank you so much. And then later that afternoon, she texted me again. She's like, this is still working and I love it. Thank you. Thank you. So.
Wow.
Yay.
2 days worth of effect from one application. That's awesome.
Well, I gave her the roller to take with her. So.
Oh, okay.
Who
That
knows
is
how
so
much she is
awesome.
using.
So we got to get braver at sharing with people because look at the lives that are changing. It's just so amazing to me. And I just love and appreciate all you being here tonight. I am so excited to introduce you to Lisa. Lisa has been joining this class and with me and teaching for years. And Lisa has pursued so many other wonderful things. As an empath, she's able to, I think, feel and understand her body and many times understand other people and what they're going through. And Lisa homeschooled all of her kids. They're grown now. I kind of feel like she and I are in the same position. It's like, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? What are we going to figure out? But she has done some health coaching and some mentoring, leadership, so much training in different areas. She's got wonderful information to share with us tonight about listening to our bodies. So thank you, Lisa, for being here.
Okay. So can I share the screen? Will you give me that permission?
I think I did already. Yep, I did. I checked it. You're good.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So let me do this. Okay. So we all know what it means to feel tired and cold and hungry. So listening to our bodies is something that it's not something that a lot of people talk about, but it's being talked about more now because it is something that, my belief system that our bodies have all the solutions within them. They just can contain this blueprint that covers all the ailments that our bodies are going through. And it has this wisdom that if we just tap into, and there's so many times I've heard that, we have our brain, we only use 10% of our brain, and there's all that other part of our brain and what's it used for and stuff like that. And I think we can tap into some of that, if not most of it. We can access what our bodies know, but we have to learn to listen. So I'm going to start first with, hold on. Let me see. Nope, that's not it. I am still trying to figure this out. Okay, so I am going to open this up to that.
Yep.
So I thought this was a fun quote, and I said to my body softly, "I want to be your friend." It took a long, deep breath and replied, "I've been waiting my whole life for this." So I thought that was kind of fun because it's like our bodies are more of an extension of us. So if you take that comment into the concept that we're not, we are separate from our body. I think of us as separate from our bodies because I feel like we have a spirit and our body, and that's two parts, and they're intertwined, but they're not one, except because when we die, it's been proven scientifically that it separates. At least they think that's what happens because there's an amount, we weigh less. That's where I'm trying to go with that. We weigh just a little bit less after we die than before we die, which I thought was interesting. I have no links for that one. It's just things I've heard before and I thought was really cool. So anyway, I do believe that we have a spirit and a body that are intertwined. And when we learn to listen, we are learning to have our bodies and our spirits connected and work together. And from little tiny, we're taught, okay, no, you shouldn't eat that. No, you can't. No, you need to finish everything on your plate. No, you don't need any more food. I've already given you food. And so when we're learning, when we already know how to listen to our bodies, because we're kind of born learning to lots, I think little children have this amazing innate knowledge to understand themselves, and we just need to learn how to allow them. But since we weren't taught, we often, all in the name of doing the best for our children, we teach them to not listen to their bodies too often. And so as we grow, we either become sick often, or we learn how to change our diet, change our mindset, change our thoughts, change, and all these things that I will talk about throughout this thing that affect how we live. So I'm going to start with kind of a slight meditation. So first of all, I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to keep my eyes closed open so I can read the next parts. But you guys close your eyes, and I want you to just notice the sounds around you and then decide to let them be, and begin to focus your attention on you. And go within by thinking about your body, because we're talking about the body right now. So we're just going to talk about the body. There's so many places we can go here, but I'm just going to go into a simple direction. Put your hand on your heart and notice which hand you use to do this. Notice what your heartbeat feels like. And can you hear it? Put your hand on your belly. Notice where you put your hand. Is it over your stomach or your abdomen or lower? Where is your belly button compared to your hand? Now resting your hands on your lap, or I see, Leanne, that you're laying down, so just put your hands out. And they face your palms up, and begin to notice your head. And slowly lower your thoughts to your neck and your throat. And now your shoulders. And your arms. Notice the feelings in each of these parts of your body, and just how do they feel? Are they heavy? Are they light? And now your chest. And your trunk of your body. And your hips. And now your upper legs. And your lower legs. And your ankles. And think about your ankles and all the weight that they take every day when you're walking around. We often think of our feet. Now think of our feet, but we often think of our feet as taking all the weight of our body, and they do. They're spread out, and our ankles are a lot smaller area, and they take our whole weight as well. And then your feet and your toes and the soles of your feet. And slowly just come back to conscious thought and start thinking about what did you notice all through the whole meditation? What were your impressions? Did your body try to speak to you? Did you hear thoughts? Any thoughts that came up were probably, if when you were focused on your body and you were focused on different parts, there may have been something in parts of your body that said, I don't feel well, or maybe I love this thing. You're listening to me, you're paying attention to me. And what did you think of? What did you notice? And when we notice those things, act on those things, and our bodies learn to tell us more clearly, and they begin to be more open to letting us know, because we've spent so many years, we often have spent so many years, if we live in the United States. I'm going to speak of people that live in the United States, because we have a tendency in our country to not think about what's happening with our body. And we go to the doctor and we say, okay, I need this prescription for this and that doctor for that. And I am so grateful we have these doctors. There's also a lot of times when we go to a doctor for a prescription, when all we needed to do was stop eating a particular food, and our body would tell us that if we would listen. So, because we don't always have medicines or even oils for all our ailments, but we can learn to manage what we have, right? And that's where I'm going with this. So, my next slide is our bodies are speaking to us always. They are always talking to us. And we are, as in our spirits, need to just learn how to listen and pay attention. So we need to, first of all, we need to accept our body where it is. Okay, maybe we're overweight and we don't like that. Maybe we're underweight. I was underweight for many, many years. And I was the opposite of what most people would consider okay, was normal, because there were so many people that were overweight, and that was the issue. A lot of people are like having trouble losing weight, and I was the opposite. I was trying to gain weight. I ate like all the time, and they checked me for worms or anything that might be a reason why I wasn't gaining weight when I ate so much, but it had nothing, they couldn't find anything. So it just, if I had been taught and learned how to listen to my body, maybe I could have figured out that I struggled my entire childhood with hormone imbalances. And there were certain things, the foods that I should have avoided, certain things that I should not have done, or maybe other things that I should have done. I should have, maybe exercised more. Maybe I should have, I don't know what my body needed at the time. I just can tell you what my body needs now, because I'm learning to listen. And be willing to feel what you feel. So we have a tendency to go in and say, okay, well, I'm overweight, I want to lose weight, but I don't like my body. And that's a tough space to be in, because our bodies are like, well, what's wrong with me? You created me. Why are you angry at me? And it's like, when we learn to love our bodies where we are, we can make changes. I don't think our body was mind if we make changes. We just need to be okay with who we are and where we are at the time. And sometimes that's tough. Yeah.
I am really resonating with what you're saying, because I think I've been on that journey, and I'm on that journey, and I have posted some sayings in my closet that just say, I'm thankful for the scars, because it just shows that I've grown. I'm thankful for my legs that have carried this overweight body my whole life. As we were doing the exercise, I've never thought about my ankles. And I think, oh my word, my ankles had to carry 350 pounds most of my life. And I'm thankful that I've lost 100 pounds, but I have a long ways to go. And I just think every morning as I read those signs, I think, I am so thankful for this body, for being as strong as it is and as healthy as it is, for all that I've put it through. Anyway, you're touching close to home. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and so then what you could do from there is like literally focus on your ankles and say, thank you for all that you've done, when I didn't even think about how much you were doing. I would do that when I finally got my hips replaced, and all the stuff that I went through trying to recover from that. And I won't go into too much detail here, but literally because of the way my hips were developed inside my mother's womb, then I had major issues. My body amazingly adapted. It was just so awesome. But how it adapted is it used two muscles of the three gluteus muscles that we have. And so one of the muscles was never used. So when I got new hips, now, because of the way things had shifted, I needed all three muscles. And so when the therapist came, because I was at my home, I was lucky to have my insurance bring one to my house for a little bit. And so I'm laying there with my feet, legs out. And he's like, okay, move your leg. Let's do a really simple one. Let's move your leg out to the left. Go ahead, move it. You can start now. I'm like, and I was like really trying hard, but my leg wasn't moving an inch. I mean, it was moving nothing because, and it wasn't until I went to the doctor the next time and he's like, oh, well, let me tell you why that happened. So I had no muscle to do that. I had no ability because now that muscle was the one that was pulling that leg out to the side, and I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't able to move my leg. So I had to literally relearn to walk from beginning, just like a newborn. It's not as cute when you're 53, but it was an amazing adventure because I was so grateful for all that my body had done all those years, not knowing what it had done. So I still spend time. My husband and I will still like, wow, I can walk. It's so cool. And it's been 3 or 4 years. So yes, be grateful for all the different parts, even the flaws that you see as flaws. Just be grateful for what they are. Connect your mind with your body. So your mind is the one that we think of when we think of our mind, when we think about thoughts. So where are we thinking? We think of our brain, as that's where our thoughts are. And our body is also producing, I call it energy. So it's kind of like a mixture of feelings and thoughts at the same time. So to me, that's the way I see it. I'm just telling you how I see it. So when you connect your mind with your body, then your ability to understand and listen to what your body is trying to tell you just expands. It expounds. It's amazing, but it takes practice. Notice what your body needs. So when you're like we did that slight meditation, you can do it as long or as short as you want. You can be sitting at a stoplight. You don't close your eyes up clearly, but when you're sitting at a stoplight, you're just thinking about various different parts of your body. And you think about, okay, my shoulders, this is something I do often. It's like, I find myself doing this, the whole hunched over thing. So I tend to just kind of sit, pull my shoulders back, try to relax my shoulders. I find I do this, my shoulders come up like this when I'm not thinking about it. So I pull my shoulders down and I start trying to just sort of relax. And I'd start just like I was talking to you in the meditation. I just like start from the top and I just go down until my shoulders are relaxing. And sometimes it'll be down my spine. Sometimes it'll be my lower back. I do have fibroids, so which has a tendency to cause problems in your lower back. So I will sometimes visualize my fibroids and how they're shrinking because I'm in menopause now. So they're going away. Yay. And so there's all sorts of, things that you can look at and say, these are problems, but they can be managed, maintained. And like I said before, what a great blessing we have to have doctors that we can go to that are able to help with things that we can't, or that our bodies aren't capable of dealing with, especially if we've gotten past the point. Like I had no choice. My hips were what they were. So when they wore out, it was a replace or be in a wheelchair. I had that choice, but I chose to have them replaced. So we can, there's all sorts of things. And I certainly couldn't have done that with the oils, but I could definitely do that with a doctor. And I felt extremely grateful that I found one that was willing to let me use the oils during the operation, surgery, and afterwards. So he was just on board with that. That was awesome.
And if you want more information about that, Lisa's got some great oil protocols for pain that she used through her hip surgeries.
Yeah, I've also got a very high pain tolerance. So I utilized that as best I could, but also I was intelligent enough to know that if I waited until I felt too much pain, then my body would diminish. It would harm my body. So I wasn't waiting until I was a 10 to take any medicines. I was, actually at the very beginning, I listened to my husband and I said, okay, you tell me when, you tell me when to take it. First couple of days of each surgery. So journaling is another way for us to get out. I think one of my favorite ways to journal, and I know a lot of people may not think of this as journaling, but I like to have a notepad next to my bed when I go to sleep. I like to try to think about something I'm trying to resolve, some issue I'm trying to understand. And I just I find a phrase and then I just say that phrase until I fall asleep, so that my mind is thinking about that when I fall asleep. Then when I wake up, the first thing I see is my notepad and I try to write down. And sometimes I have no idea what my dreams were. Even they may have solved all my problems. I have no clue. But what I'll do is I'll write down, if I remember my dream, I'll write that down. And if I don't remember my dream, I'll just start writing. It doesn't even have to make sense. It's just gibberish. Sometimes there's just words that just whatever word comes to my mind, I write that down. Whatever thoughts come into my head, I write that down. If I think of a sentence, even better, but sometimes it's just words. It's just random thoughts. And it just seems, and I just write until I can't think of anything else to write. And sometimes I have been amazed at how I've come up with the thoughts that, oh yeah, wait, that was my dream. I remember it now because I've written out enough to where my brain starts coming back to what I was thinking just a few minutes ago, or half an hour, 20 minutes ago, whatever. And it's pretty cool because then when I know my dreams, it helps me for myself. This is the way I manage them. I'm able to understand, okay, so this was what I was thinking. And, so I'll do that sometimes throughout the night, because we have multiple times when we dream. So it's not just one dream and you're done. It's not the way it works. But when we plan, so planning, I've got planning in here. So when we plan foods, we have less of a tendency to eat junk. I have one mentee right now that I'm working with who is, she struggles with food addiction. And so she's really, really struggling hard because she's realized how much gluten and dairy both affect her emotionally. It's not something she's allergic to or anything, but she knows that when she's eaten something that has gluten in it, she goes off on her kids just crazy. And so she's like, I actually connected those dots. It's like, there was one day when there was, for whatever reason, I didn't have any gluten that day, and it was an amazing day. And I started putting the dots together and connecting the dots and figuring out what it was that was different about that day than the day before and the day after. So she started testing that out, and so she found it out. But it is really, really hard. If you don't know about eating gluten-free, it is a tough thing to do, even in today's world. And but it's something I've been involved with since 1980. when my daughter at 1986, 1985 or 90, she was born in 85. And I think it was 86 when we figured out what she was sick with. She was celiac. And so I've been working with gluten-free since then. So it was not good stuff back then. Today, gluten-free stuff is wonderful. I will just say that no matter how much you dislike it, it is so head and shoulders better than everything was before. It is so much better. So yeah, it's been really tough for her because she's been, when she plans ahead, so she'll go into the refrigerator and there's these easy to get chicken nuggets or something. She'll just eat one because she hasn't eaten dinner. And it's like, okay, so what are you going to put in the refrigerator so that you can grab and go that is not gluten or dairy? So she's been planning that out, and she's been hit or miss and working with it and going back to the feeling what you feel. It's like, oh man, I didn't do it that day. So she texts me, literally, she texts me every night. I had a great day, no gluten today. It's been awesome. man, I screwed up today. I had a really bad day. I ate one thing of gluten and it really messed me up for the whole day. And she's like, noted, but the fact that she's texting me means she's working on it and she's allowing herself, okay, I didn't do that the way I wanted to. The planning didn't go. So you lose integrity with yourself when you don't finish or do the things that you had planned on. So make a plan and then act on that plan, and you keep that integrity with yourself. And the same thing with our bodies. When we're listening to our bodies start, talking back to us. So distinguishing the difference between what our mind wants and what our body needs. So what she wants is that gluten-free nugget that is, sitting on the table waiting for her to either throw away or put away or eat. And what she knows her body needs is something besides gluten. So she's working on making that a better option. Trust your gut. Okay. You have to understand the difference between what's your gut and what are your wants. Those are probably your mind. What are your needs? That's probably your gut. Your gut doesn't know. Okay. Let me start over a little back a little bit. When we have been eating junk food and stuff that's not good for us and not healthy, our body thinks, oh, okay, well, that's what we're supposed to have. So it kind of gets a misfire and it starts learning to eat the foods that it shouldn't have. When you start eating more healthy, I have met so many people, especially as a health coach. I have met so many people that have said, I have been so good at eating healthy, I don't even want that food anymore, that other stuff. My husband will bring home this really great burger that before was like heaven for me. And now I'm just like, eat one bite and my body's like, ew, I don't want that. That is yuck. That's not what I need right now. And, it's not all salads and fruit and vegetables either. So there are things that our bodies need that are outside what sometimes we might think. So just listen to, like, the first thing your body will tell you is probably what, if you're not used to it, probably you need to think more about. That's where the planning comes in. Go back into the planning. make a decision, go with it, work through it, adjust, see the faults, see the positives, and then adjust. Try not to judge. That's the hardest part right there. But trust your gut, and get moving. So Dr. Sears is who I got my program through, my health coaching class from. And he's a pediatrician, amazing man. He's old as dirt, but he is a pediatrician, and he wanted to find a way to help people become healthier instead of just giving them medicines and telling them do this and then they don't do it because it's too hard. So he wanted to find a way, help people to make the changes that they needed. And one of the things he did was he talked about movement and how moving 20 minutes a day helps open up something called the endothelium. So I don't know, is it in here? Okay, let me jump back a little bit. So the trusting your gut, some of the things, oils for our gut would be Zendocrine, Slim and Sassy, Digestin, but I can't take Digestin because I guess that's the peppermint. I don't know. My body has been a lot more sensitive to peppermint lately. And I think it's just while my body is trying to rebalance in the hormones situation. So Tamer for me, but again, when you learn to listen, you can understand. It's like, why isn't this working for me? Well, because my body doesn't like digestion. So that's why it's like, okay, my tummy ache went away, but something's not right. I don't feel right. I don't feel good. So I use Tamer, and it's like, okay, that issue in my stomach, not only that goes away, but I'm able to sleep and I don't wake up feeling yucky. It's just learning to, sorry about that. Learning to hear what your body wants. How are we talking about get moving? Yes. There we go. And sit down to eat. So I'm going to go back to the get moving here in a second. Sitting down to eat. Apparently I moved these around and I didn't have them in the right order. Sitting down to eat. Again, going back to Dr. Sears, he talks about take time to eat. First of all, eat the right foods, for your body, and take time to eat. Sit down and eat with intention. So when you do that, when you sit down to eat, you are eating slow enough and your body can do the functions that it needs to do. And promise you, it appreciates it. Your body needs time to process, just like we need to process through our emotions and our stresses and our problems. Our body needs time to process through all that food we just gave it to digest and, manage and figure out what to do with, especially since a lot of things that we eat in American diets are counter. So like we need, and forgive me for not remembering what is what, but when you eat a carb, you need one kind of digestion liquid. And when you eat a protein, you need a different kind of digestion protein. And when you put those proteins together, they null each other out. So, and I'm sorry, when you put those liquids together that digest those things for us, then they null each other out. So when you eat meat, a meat sandwich, you're oftentimes diluting the digestion liquids that help your body to do that. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but our bodies will tell us, like, I don't want that meat right now, or I don't want those carbs right now. If we listen, then it'll tell us. So eating a hamburger outside of the bun, not a bad idea. So those are, but again, so when we're sitting down to eat, Terrazyme, Digestin, and Tamer, again, for me, Tamer, because I don't do Digestin. And then let me jump back to the get moving part again. So Dr. Ignaro was somebody that Dr. Sears talked to, and he had discovered something called the endothelial lining, which is the inside of our veins, arteries, and it's inside those, like it's a little tiny, and he calls it the silver lining. So let me show you a really fun thing. So this is the endothelial pharmacy. This is what Dr. Sears, this is the cute little thing that Dr. Sears put together. So inside of our arteries and our veins it's really, really tiny and very thin. Okay. But the endothelium is where what he calls our prescription bottles. So when we eat healthy foods and we exercise, then but just the very nature of exercising, then the blood starts pumping and goes quicker, and then opens up those bottles that's the way that Dr. Sears described it, which I loved that. So those medicine bottles for most everything our bodies would need are there for us, and our bodies know exactly how much we need. They know exactly what chemicals our bodies need to produce, and when and how much, and when to stop. Our bodies know all this stuff. It has so much information. And we do that exercise, he says, about 20 minutes a day, if we can do it, get our heart rate up for about 20 minutes every day. And it solves so many problems, just the exercising. But the healthy food is what helps that happen. The junk food clogs up. He calls it sticky stuff. Hence because he's a pediatrician, so he talks to kids. And I loved him because he talked at my level. I don't like the doctor level. I don't understand it at that level. I know you would, Patty. So I would go to you and say, wait, what is this again? And I loved how you could explain it to me as well. Because when we went to doTERRA convention and you were explaining some things, and I'm like, oh, I actually understand it from you. But most nurses or doctors, I didn't. So this was awesome. When I was learning, he called it sticky stuff. And so not only is this happen, but if you notice blood cells and how they're not separate. Like up here, they're separate. And down here, they're all together. I have a, I think I can share this. Let me know if you can hear it. So this is a warm, woody aroma of balance, creates sense of calm and well-being. We perfectly blend, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to go into that, but offer an exciting fragrance. So this is a sample of red blood cells using dark field microscopy. I don't think I said that right. So this was a man whose blood was taken, and he had, so if you notice, his blood cells are all connected together like that. And so I'm going to move just a little bit faster. Then they took another sample. 30 seconds after applying 1 drop of balance on the bottoms of their feet. And then this is what happened. Do you see that? 30 seconds after putting the balance on there.
Wow.
Right? That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Impressive.
Isn't that awesome? So yeah, so this is, there's not, you can't just get the oils and fix it all the time. But what I'm saying is there are options to help in all sorts of ways, but nothing can take the place of eating healthy and exercising and what that does for us. So, take time to sit down and eat. And when you eat with intention, as I was saying earlier, then you're going to eat foods that make a lot more sense. Something else I use as far as oils for moving and stuff, like deep blue is great for sore muscles, lemongrass for ligaments. I do a lot of writing, typing, but I also do a lot of writing by hand. And carpal tunnel is what I've been told it would. I've never been to a doctor to have it diagnosed, but I know I've researched it, and I've actually got 2 friends that are nurses, and they've talked to me and they said, yeah, that's probably what it is. I just never gone to a doctor to get officially diagnosed. So what I will do is I will put lemongrass down my arm, because this is where it hurts. And I will put lemongrass, my wrist will hurt. And then I'll put lemongrass down my arm. And by the next day, it's usually gone. So it's really helpful for that. I'll also take if it gets to that level, when I've written too much, I will take the next day and write less, or sometimes not at all. I've been working in my garden, so I'll do something like that. Copaiba is another thing that will help calm for me, works really well to help me after I've exercised, especially like today, I was out cutting down a tree. So, but I have a tendency to work with one arm, my right arm, because I'm right-handed. Because I have a saw, I don't have an electric thing. I just saw back and forth. So my arm, so I'm going to be putting some lemongrass and copaiba on my shoulders tonight. I can tell you, and at least on my right one. So, check in. Another thing is check in throughout the day. Just check in with yourself. So especially when you're first learning to listen to what your body is saying, check in, like just take a moment, whatever's happening during the day, see if you can. When I had 5 kids, I would go to the bathroom, and it was like my time, I tried to stay less than 3 to 5 minutes if I could, but it was like, just check in, take time to be one with your body, or whatever term works best for you. Just check in and listen and say, okay, what is it that you need? Sleep. Yes, I can't do that right now. I have 5 kids needing to be homeschooled. So what else do we need? There are times when you can't do what it's going to tell you, but it's like, okay, I'll tell you what, I will take a short nap. And I've done that too. So, sometimes you can, listen. If you can hear what it's saying and you can follow through on it, all the better, because then your body learns that you are actually listening and care enough to listen. And then bottom line is just practice until you are starting to hear what it is your body's needing, how much, what kind of foods. I mean, I have a friend who literally checks in with everything she eats. She's still learning. This is not the same lady, but it's a different one. Everything she eats, she checks in. She holds the food and she just closes her eyes and she says, is this something that I can eat right now? No. Okay. Then she doesn't eat it, and she doesn't. And she's learning to listen to what it is her body is telling her. And there are some times when she gets double answers, but for the most part, she gets whatever answer she gets, she goes with it. And then she's like, okay, if I can't eat that, I need to eat something. So let's try this other thing. Yep, that's good. Okay, let's eat that. And so she will listen to it. And I know I've done something similar. There have been times when my body's like, this is the way I was viewing it at the time. Are you really going to listen to me? Okay, no vitamins for the whole week. I don't want any vitamins. Okay, so no vitamins. So we will go without the vitamins. And then my body's like, okay, I really need the vitamins. and then like there was one time when that happened, and it was like about halfway through the week. And I just had this thought. It's like, I want to test for those vitamins again, because I keep feeling like I keep thinking about them. My mind keeps going back to the vitamins. So I'm going to go back. I'm testing it. And it's like, yes, I want the vitamins. I'm sorry. I said, no. I don't know what was going on. It was me not listening and not hearing or what. All I know is that we just practice. And sometimes you might get it wrong, and that's okay, because what's cool about it is that our body loves us and it will forgive us, and it will, we can work with it. It'll keep trying, and we will keep trying, and we'll eventually come together.
I love it. Hey, Lisa, I have one more quick question about, I know muscle testing isn't the direction you want to go, but I had someone ask about that. Could you, we need to do our business meeting, but could you have like just a really short explanation of what muscle testing is, in case people wanted to learn about that?
Sure. I don't know a lot about it, but I know that one of the things that, like when I was a kid, we put our hands on the sides of in the doorway and push up against, and then our arms would float up. And I don't know what all that was about, but somebody explained it to me that it was something similar. I'm like, okay, well, that just sounds too woo-woo for me. I'm sorry, I don't like that. But what they did explain, and this was a scientific person, so this wasn't somebody who was this was a very intelligent person. So she was trying to help me where she thought I was, and to get into the sciences, because she knows I'm not science oriented in that regard. And so she's like, so in here, so a lot of times people will put their hand on top of your hand, and they'll put their finger in a complex of muscles right in here. And when there is something that your body doesn't want, there will be a twinge. And when it's something that something will change. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not totally sure exactly how, but that's what she was trying to say, is like, that's what is happening, is your body is telling. So when I say, so like, here's some lemongrass. If I put some lemongrass here, I'll put it in this hand. No, I'll put it in this hand. And I'll put it to my heart, and I'll say, okay, is this something I want? And my body will say, if it doesn't want it, it'll be like, they'll push down. And if it does want it, then I'll be strong.
Yeah.
And then if it's something my body doesn't want, let's say,
It'll go deep. Yeah.
Adaptive. I have some adaptive, because I know my body never likes adaptive. So I put some adaptive. Do I want some adaptive? And my body, I can't hold my arm. My arm just is weak.
So when I've had someone else muscle test me, they do it this way, just so you know. And it's a matter of you know, they'll test and
Yeah.
say, do you need
Yeah.
this? Do you need that?
A lot of
Also
people
sort of
will
sway-
touch the muscles will twinge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same idea, is that your arm is either weak or it's strong. And if it's something that your body needs, it'll be strong. If it's something your body is like, no, get that away from me, then you won't be able to hold it up as
So I'm a
well.
firm believer in it, but I haven't figured out how to do it for myself yet.
No, that's me. That's what I'm saying, is like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can just, you know, I can just listen to what people are explaining it to me. And I'm like, okay, sure.
So what
To me, that's too
is-
scientific.
you're more listening to your body and how it feels and talking to your body.
Yeah, I'm just listening. And I'm like, it's kind of like I get for myself, and I don't want this to sound too weird to people, but I listen to what my body's telling me, and like, yeah, that is, I feel like it's a positive mood, positive shift. Yes, that is something I want. Yes, I want the lemongrass. No, I do not want the adaptive. It's like my first feelings are like, oh, get that away from me. And you know, when it's something I want, then it's like, oh yeah, I like that. That feels good.
I love it. Thank you so much, Lisa. Lots of great information and getting us all thinking, and hopefully thinking more about our body and listening. So
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And thanks everybody for being here. Hopefully you got a nugget out of there. That's what I love about this class, because we're able to just find the nuggets that speak to us. So thank you so much, Lisa. Appreciate it. And anybody that wants to stay on, Leanne's got a little bit of business for us with some great tips. So I'm going to keep the recording going, because I know that people are going to enjoy these tips. So we're going to leave it going. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hi, guys. Let's see. So I can share screen. Perfect. Because I need to do that. So first, I want to just talk about a couple of really quick tech tips for anyone who doesn't know. All right. So I'm showing you my email. Two things. So I was going to show you guys how to make a hyperlink. Actually, so let's go here. So anyone who doesn't know, links, also known as hyperlinks. So you click on it, and then you can open up a link somewhere. So this is a document I created, and these are all hyperlinks. Really easy to create. You would, let's see. So there's one I specifically didn't make a hyperlink. This is just a regular link. You go here, and push the insert link button here. So now you have, this is what you might call it, like Zoom call, but the actual link is down here. You press apply, and there you go. That is your hyperlink. So that, you know, sometimes it doesn't matter if you send someone a link, or it looks fine. But sometimes you copy a link, especially, it might look short when you copy it, and then you paste it and it's like a mile long. You're like, this looks terrible.
So you can do this in other programs. This is Google Sheets.
Yeah, so this was Google Sheets. You can
Or
do
files.
it. So in here, I'll show you where I've done it in an email. So like in Gmail, here's the link button again.
Nice.
It works the same way. There's a text, the label, and then there's wherever it's going to.
Nice.
The second tech thing I wanted to share was if you have Gmail, I think most emails have this, but I have Gmail, so I'll show you in here. There's a template section. So I have a template called Welcome to doTERRA. And it already has the subject, and it's all of these things. Like John and I kind of created this together. It's a reference document, and just helps introduce people to things. But you know, we have hyperlinks in here too. It takes them back to doTERRA.
But because it's a template, it's something you can refer to and say, hi Judy, and send them this template
Yeah, and it's already made. It's saved in my Gmail
as a
ev-
template.
whenever I want. It's really easy to make. You just go into templates. You go say, well, okay. Actually, let me delete this one. So compose a new one. And let's say, blah, 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 and that's my template that I want. I just made it as a new email. And I go template, save as template, save as new template. It'll ask me for a
Name
name.
it. Nice.
So,
Now, the reason this came about, this hyperlink, Leanne, was because I had sent to one of Leanne's clients, okay, here's a really cool doTERRA video to go to, and the link was huge in the email. And here's another really cool doTERRA link to go to. And they were just
it was
YouTube
like 4
videos.
lines long.
I
or
know, it was
something.
ridiculous. It was like YouTube videos that doTERRA has done, these beautiful YouTube videos, but for some reason the link came out really long. And she's like, you know, you could have done a hyperlink and that would have looked better. So thank you. That was very easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you think we have time to talk about, do you guys want to learn about Founder? It would take me 5-8 minutes maybe to go over.
It's a little long. Can we do it another
Okay.
night? Because that class went a little long tonight and I am so sorry that we're long. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
You're
you, Leanne.
welcome.
And I'm sorry it went
That
long.
would be awesome, though. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Looking forward to that.
Cool.
So next week we're going to talk about vibration, and I'll be teaching the class. I've put a lot of effort into this class already, so it'll be about how our bodies have vibration, the oils have vibration, and how we all want to raise our vibration. So I forgot to say that when everybody was online. A little discombobulated when things were going long there, but appreciate you guys getting on tonight and looking forward to our retreat. You're all going to be attending it, and so it's going to be fantastic. Check your emails. I sent out the email tonight, Rhonda, about the potluck meals, so you can sign up for part of the deal. So, Jolene, good to have you here with us tonight. Thanks for being here, and love you all. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Bye-bye.